Welcome to Guitar Town. Okay, well, Gibson fans, we're finally there. I was associated with Gibson guitars for years and years. Gibsons were easier to come by and less expensive than Martins. I had a Martin when I was a teenager that I let get away. I'm not sure how old it was. It was either a wartime or a pre-war Martin, and I wasn't able to date it. It was a D18, and I traded it for an Alvarez Yari because the neck was so out of whack and the action was so high that I couldn't play it, and nobody in San Antonio worked on them. After that, my first real new acoustic guitar was a Gibson LGO, that 1970 or 71 LGO that my grandmother brought me as a bribe to get me to go back to high school, and then I turned around and dropped out again. Then I had the Alvarez for a while, and then I bought a 1956 or 57 J45 at GTR, which was George Green, George, Tut, and Randy. And George Green, Tut Taylor, and Randy Wood, who was the first repair guy there. And by the time I got to Nashville, Randy was already gone from the business. I think Tut was too, but it was still called GTR. And I bought that J45. By the time I had a J50 after that I traded that J45 to Jerry Jeff Walker for $500 and a 65 J50 he had that the bridge had been changed out to a non-adjustable bridge. And I played that. That was my only acoustic guitar for years. And then I got a J100 that Gibson loaned me to make Guitar Town, and I never did give it back. And that's the guitar that's on the cover of Guitar Town. So I became associated with those Gibson jumbos for years. I started finger picking more. I started playing bluegrass. A lot of things happened that I eventually evolved to the point where I think that my taste ran towards Martin guitars. But I collect Gibson acoustics and electrics as well. Pretty extensive collection of Gibson acoustics. This is the oldest Gibson guitar that I own. It's a 1919 Gibson Style O. Now, there are earlier versions of the Style O, you know, with Gibson was a mandolin company. And if you'll look at this, it has that Florentine mandolin styling. And in fact, I have a 1923 F4 that has exactly the same paint job, the same color lacquer and sunburst, and it's it's like they built arch top instruments. So their first acoustics were all arch tops. We'll get into. I've got a few of their earlier flat tops that we'll get into later in this series. But this was made in 1919. The original version of this I definitely had banjo pegs. I've never actually had one of those in my hands. It's got the Florentine cutaway and the scroll just like an F4 or F5 mandolin. It's also an interesting feature here, I think. A couple of things on the details on this one. I love that sort of rope and diamond kind of, is sort of a string of diamonds around the sound hole. That inlay, it's kind of cool looking. And then there's two of the rope pattern things, sort of their version of a herringbone around on the outside of those diamonds. I think this guitar is mahogany. It might be maple. It's hard for me to tell. Somebody probably needs to correct me on that. I didn't have time to look it up, but it's in the book, I'm sure. It might be maple. It's stained so dark it's hard for me to actually tell just by looking at it. I'll try to get back with you on that one. I want to make sure I got a video up this week, so I'm kind of on the hurry out the door to a session. I'm gonna go record a David Olney song and a Neil Casal song, both in the same day, to go on different records honoring both of those guys who we lost last year. But this is an old-timey guitar, so I'm going to play. It's a song I wrote, but it's kind of an old-timey sounding song. It's on a bluegrass record, but it's not really a bluegrass song. Come on, pretty baby, won't take me by the hand. I thought maybe that I could be your man. And for a while we could go in style. Come on, going on an outlaw honeymoon. Come on. I Gotta keep moving, 'cause baby, I'm a traveling man. And there ain't a lot of women out there that understand. But if you do, I'll be good to you. Come on, going on an outlaw honeymoon. Come on. Hey. I'm going up a country, honey, don't you wanna go? Got a little money, all you gotta do is let me know. I know a place that disappear without a trace. Come on, we're going on an outlaw's honeymoon. Come on. Ladies, anybody approaches you with a proposition remotely like that, run like hell. 1919 Gibson style O. See y'all.